dear teachers, I'm Jungel. Welcome to our Lingua Tea Club. Before we start our lesson, I want you to think about how you teach listening and which steps you follow when teaching it. Hello boys and girls, how are you today? It's so cold and wet outside, isn't it? Who would expect a hail in the summer? No one. I should have checked the weather forecast. If I had known that it was going to hail, I would have taken my jacket and umbrella. But it's summertime. People should wear dresses, shirts, t-shirts and skirts. And what do you think, guys? What should you wear? So today the weather will be sunny. You should wear, of course, a pair of shorts. What you shouldn't wear? You shouldn't wear sweater and gloves. Today the weather will be stormy. You should, you shouldn't. Work with your friend and say sentences. Today, you should, you shouldn't. Today, you should, you shouldn't. So, what should people wear when it's rainy, stormy, sunny, and snowy? As you have probably guessed, today we will talk about the weather. I've had a bad weather day because I didn't check the weather forecast. But I could, and I've just thought about how lucky we are to know what to wear, when it's better to stay at home, and which place to go. By knowing the weather forecast, we can plan our day and even our holidays. Isn't it great? But I wonder what people did before the start of the weather forecasting. What helped them to predict the weather? Now, can you look at these pictures? Do you know how the things and animals in the pictures can help you to predict the weather? Tell your partner. Now, listen to the text and check your ideas. How many ideas did you hear? What will the weather be like tomorrow? People at all times wanted to know about the future. They asked fortune tellers and wizards to tell them about what will happen in their life. Very often, people wanted to know about the weather because it was really important for farming and gardening. Nowadays, people are also interested in weather predictions. We want to know if we need to take umbrellas or put on warm sweaters. These days, you don't need to go to any wizards or fortune tellers to ask them about tomorrow's weather. You can find about it from TV, radio, or the internet. Or you can predict the weather yourself if you are an attentive and a watchful person, and if you know the weather omens. It won't be difficult for you. What is an omen? In general, an omen is a sign from the natural world that can send you a message about good or bad things coming in future. In many cultures, there are a lot of omens about the weather. Let's look at some of them. When smoke from chimney falls down, the weather will be stormy. If smoke from the chimney goes up, the weather will be clear. If you see a rainbow in the morning, there will be a storm within 24 hours. If a rainbow is in the evening, the weather will be clear. If clocks and watches tick louder, the weather will be wet. There are also a lot of weather predictions related to animals. For example, cats. What will the weather be like if your cat washes over her ear? Will it rain or not? If your cat scratches the leg of your table? Let's look at the answers together. If a cat washes over her ear, the weather will be fine. But if your cat scratches the leg over your table, it will rain. The weather will be windy if an old cat starts running and playing. Do you think only cats can tell you what the weather will be like tomorrow? There are more animals which can tell you about weather changes in the future. When a dog eats grass, rain will come very soon. If cows lay down on their fields, it will rain. If fish stick their noses out of the water a lot, stormy weather will be soon. If the chickens go out during the rain, it will be a long, wet storm. So, how many ideas and predictions did come true? How many of them did you hear in the listening? Could you please turn to your partner and talk about that? So now, let's listen to the text one more time and answer the following questions. First, why are people interested in weather predictions? 2. Who did people ask if they wanted to know about the future? And the last one, what is an omen? Let's listen again and answer the questions. So, what other omens about the weather do you know? Tell your classmate. Now, to open up the lesson, let's play a game. Now, you will see a question on the card. Please read the question and answer. Let's start. How is the weather in Paris? Google it and say, how is the weather in Paris? But in the picture, you can see that it is stormy, right? Okay, describe the weather in autumn. Yeah, describe the weather in autumn in our country. What's the weather like in autumn? Yeah, it's warm, cool, and rainy. What season is in New York? It's fall, right? Okay, describe the weather in summer. Oh, summers are very, very hot in Bishkek. Okay, how is the weather in London? It's rainy, it's always raining. Describe the weather in winter. Winters are freezingly cold. Okay, what do we make in snowy weather? We make snowballs. Where do we swim on hot days? In Isikulu Lake, of course. What do we use in rainy weather? What do we use? Umbrellas. Describe the weather in spring. Oh, my favorite season is spring. I like spring because it's very cool, warm, sunny. How is the weather in Baku? Google it, guys. How is the weather in Baku? How is the weather in Istanbul? Oh, I've never been there, but I dream about going there. Alright, then what's the weather like today? Today the weather is a bit stormy and rainy. And I forgot my umbrella. Alright then, so our lesson is over. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye. Hello dear teachers. Now it's high time to have some tea and discuss the demo lesson. You probably noticed that I started my lesson with a warmer. Did you like it? Did the students practice something or was it just for fun? Well, first of all, it was done to introduce the topic of the lesson. You can do warmers not only to energize students, but also to revise the vocabulary of the previous lesson. Warmers can also serve the following functions: allow for latecomers and relax students. However, the most effective warmers are those which combine more than one of these functions. So please, try to use warmers with a purpose to impact the classroom. Could I present today's topic right away saying, today we will listen to the text about the weather omens? Yes, I could, but would students be ready to listen to the text with great interest? Probably not. It's very important to activate students' background knowledge first. You can also teach some unknown words at this stage because some students can have some problems with comprehension during the listening. That's why make sure you eradicate prospect problems students might have. Teach the words they might not know and prepare them to listen by asking questions or giving an interesting task. By the way, how many times did the students listen to the recording? Right, they listened to it twice. And what was the purpose of the first listening? What did the students practice when I asked them to compare their ideas and predictions with the text? Exactly. The students listened to the text to understand the main idea. What was the purpose of the second listening? Well, the students listened to the text again to answer the questions they completed in the previous activity. Did those questions like, why are people interested in weather predictions? Who did people ask if they wanted to know about the future? What is an omen? Require detailed answers? Yes, so the second time students listened to understand specific details. And I concluded my lesson by asking the class to tell each other what other omens about the weather they know. Students had to share their opinion and thoughts while doing the task. So if you're planning to have a listening lesson, first, prepare your students to listen. Prepare an interesting task or a set of questions to activate their interest. Second, give the task that will check their general comprehension, but not the understanding of details, because it comes next. And of course, always give students a chance to share their feelings and thoughts with the class. I really hope that my lesson was useful to you and that you learned something new. If you have any questions regarding the lesson or methodology, please write to our email or in our website forum, Need to Get This Info. Our Lingua Tea Club is always open to our professional talk. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time.